Are you gonna talk? Hey, you okay? Oh, you're okay. Something that I've wanted to be my whole life is just be a dad and a husband to Amy at least. Um, so when we found out, I was shocked but excited at the same time. It didn't seem real at first. You just think, oh, there's a baby inside her, and as the more months went by, she started showing the baby bump, and um, as it continued on, it started to get real and real and real. And once she arrived, it was totally real. And there's nothing that can prepare you or describe the feelings you get once you see your baby and everything for the first time. Every guy doesn't say they cry, but they totally do. When you hear her cry and everything, it um, just sends like a father instinct into you that this is a new person that you have to protect, and it's no longer just you anymore. It's your family, and just overwhelmed. But after everything got settled down, because it was such a traumatic birth and everything, everything started calming down, and it just felt right. Like it's all natural to you the second you get to hold her and everything. First night, pretty nerve wracking because, like I said, there's no handbook to taking care of a baby. You just kind of have to do trial and error. So I didn't really sleep at all that night. I always wanted to make sure she was breathing and if she needed something or anything. We had to do an emergency C-section because the doctor came in and said that every time Amy would have a contraction, the baby's heart rate would drop down. And so that told us that there was a possibility that a cord was wrapped around her. So after a few monitoring, they determined that we had to have a C-section. So that in itself was pretty intense. Once the doctor said that, about 11 doctors rushed in and just started prepping Amy and just having them fill out paperwork, had me dressed in scrubs. We went into the emergency room, and she was taken back at 5:40 and then delivered at 5:47. She weighed 7 pounds 5 ounces, was 20 inches long, and had her eyes open pretty much the second she came out. So she's been wide-eyed to this world ever since. She didn't cry very much after we got into the recovery room. She was just more concerned about trying to figure out where she was at instead of being inside for 9 months. Avery Ryan Baker. It's Amy's middle name. We came up with the boy's name right away because we didn't know what the baby was at first, but we decided to make sure we had a girl's name just in case, and that took us a little bit. We had to write about 10 names down and decided right off the bat that was going to be her name if it was a girl. It's been a month yesterday, and time's gone by so fast that everybody says, enjoy every moment because time flies by. In a month, it only seems like 2 weeks. But it's been a joy. I mean, the sleeping part, you learn to adjust not sleeping every night. You're not so cautious because at first when I was holding her, I felt like she was glass, that I had to be super careful. I mean, you still are, but you're not so tense. Maybe that's the best way to describe it. I was so tense holding her just to make sure I wouldn't move or anything. And now she's just growing up too fast. She's definitely strong for her being a month old. She's trying to hold her head up, and when you hold her up, she kicks her legs and tries to stand up. So it definitely feels different after only a month. Just teaching her the way my parents taught me to be. My parents are probably one of the nicest people in the world. Nobody like them. So I want to make sure Avery learns the same way I did. Definitely excited to see what kind of sports she gets into since I'm a big sports fan. What she's going to sound like, how big she's going to be, if she's going to be tall like my dad or short like Amy and I. You don't know what they're going to sound like voice-wise, so that's always something interesting to know about. But yeah, overall, just growing up is, I think, the most exciting thing to look forward to.